Welcome back, everybody, to Dan Has Fun, playing Humankind again today. Last episode, we had pretty much just spoken about how a couple of the civics that we had choices between weren't really all that interesting to me. At the very start of this episode, because all I did was hit end turn, we have the Heresy of Science event pop up. And no matter what we pick, we have to make some type of showing in terms of the scientific facts civic. So last episode, if you remember watching, we had this pop up whether we want to take things incredibly literally or if we want to take things more kind of by the spiritual of their meaning. And honestly, we're probably going to become flat earthers. Apparently, I am a flat earther. Not in real life, obviously. But in this game, we're going to become a flat earther. So we're going to forbid become a flat earther. Doesn't make me feel great. You meant to feel sick after you pick a decision like that? Maybe I just lost a few brain cells. I don't know. Anyway, that's what we picked. Honestly, I feel like, we're really not going to have very many holy sites, so getting a bonus out of them doesn't help us. Whereas if we can get a little bit of stability from research quarters, that's probably more helpful. We also seem to just be obsessed with finding out we have starvation memos, but I don't know how this keeps happening. It's like the population gets higher than the cap, and then naturally the city can't produce the food needed when it needs to produce food for 3 or 4 population more than it's meant to hold. And then the game goes, oh, well, they're starving to death. And then just rinse and repeat. And then the population's coming out of my ass or something. I don't know. Coming out of my bum. Anyway, I also forgot to mention last episode that now that we're a culture that focuses on building, you can set cities in what's called land raiser mode. So all the money and science they get turns into industry. Obviously, we're not going to do that because last episode we pretty much went bankrupt. We're not doing too bad now. We're up to plus 202. But if war happens, especially between the Poles and ourselves, because that could get pretty nasty, at least we have that as an option to really hammer out units. I also notice there's a couple up here now that I didn't see before. They really just have one unit type. It's all just hordes. It's all horde units and nothing else. Which is good and bad. It's good in that it just means if we build pikes, we'll be fine. But it's bad in that most of the units we have on the field right now are archers, which are horribly weak to horses. Because obviously horses can just run straight up to them and whack them before they can do anything back. So we do have a log jam of units at Akkad. Apparently we're up to 30 farmers' quarters. That's awesome. Apparently it was so awesome the game decided to interrupt me. Lime Green, who just decided last episode they just hated everything about us seemingly out of nowhere. They've chosen to be Japan. Are we still actually starving in Akkad? We're at minus 16 and we're still above the population limit. Are we building a food market? We are, but that only does food. Money instead of food, rather. We're just going to put this up front and then I guess, just leave it for there. It'll be fine. Yeah, they just don't like anything we're doing. I don't really know why either, but we're not too concerned. Lime green is not a concern. Honestly, orange isn't really a concern either, although if we could have declared war on him, I would really like to, but we can't get our war support high enough for it. We need him to do something stupid that we can then attack him for. Our concern is black, because they have a bunch of units. They are vindictive, so if we ended up at war, we're probably going to end up at war forever, which isn't great. But their strengths don't really fit what's going on here. So I'm not sure, but yeah, the Avenger bias is just effectively telling us if war happens, it will never stop. So I do not want to declare on them until we know we can absolutely trash them. Otherwise we could have a war that ends the entire length of the game. And that caravel just found enough money there to effectively pay for itself for its entire journey around. We're doing a great bit of fog busting. Try and put my teeth in and say words. But yeah, because this was predominantly set up as a Pangaea map, because I thought it'd be a bit more interesting and dynamic, we ended up in a situation where we have practically nothing else. The game's done too good a job at being a Pangaea. They also have a lot of units up here now. Oh, units that aren't just horses. Wow. A great swordsman and a crossbow. Okay, and just more of the same. So they do have other units, just apparently it's all horses down south. Although I have noticed that they've all just moved. Where did they go? I don't know, but we're clearly going to have to protect a cat.
In a form that is codified and searchable, has become available to all. This is no small gift.
Oh, Fangao actually has nothing to build. Wow. Well, we're definitely going to get down one of our unique building districts because 26 hammers, that's massive. And then after that, we have to start... There's two different ways we can do this. We can either go and start trying to plow through science, because our science in this city is actually pretty good, which I think is what I'm going to do. I want to flip those around, please. And then I'm going to start trying to plow out some pikemen, I think. Do that. That will hurt their population a bit, but Feng Hao has a lot of food available to it. So that's fine. Another 200 gold, I'll take it. Apparently, these guys know only how to build one type of army. Swordsmen and javelins. That's it. Okay, we finally have access to the game's Niter that's not called Niter, so we're going to deal with that before we forget too. And we can now build arquebusiers. 39 strength, pretty good. However, their issue is that they can't move and attack on the same turn. So they're not very flexible. So that is something to bear in mind. We want to start adding Niter extraction to the queue, like that. And honestly, we probably want to put it as top priority. I'm not going to force buy it. It's not that desperate that we need it, but we want to start getting it done. The other one is down here at Nemossos. Let's get that set up as well. Like that. Aqueduct is not needed as a priority. That's just going to be nice because once we get the aqueduct in, we can start getting quite a few districts down here. This is not a great district, or at least a great region in general. But I want to see if it at least can do something. 13 gold and a tile's not bad. And there's a 12 there. And then it's just a bunch of 9s. So not amazing, but something. And then we'll probably leave it alone at that point. No, I'm going to get that actually, and I'm going to put it in there. That'll help its building a lot. Because I'm not worried about being attacked down here. There's still a 5 stack of units, but I'm not that worried. The Sands of Time. Recently, traveling across an antique desert land in the hinterlands of your empire, you came across a cautious sight. 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone, beside which lied a shattered visage, or visage, I guess. And on the pedestal these words, "Look on my works and despair, nothing beside remained." The image still haunts you to this day. Whoever raised this civilization is now forgotten, any and all of their achievements gone, even their name lost to the winds. Today you reign supreme, the most famed leader in the world, and yet will you still be remembered in a century, a millennium, an aeon? How best to find immortality? Clearly not written by me. Who writes in a very literal sense. We can preach, get bountiful, and that's just more food. We can write, and that's just increasing, the speed in which we will build units for 10 turns. Or we can go fanatical, which we're clearly not doing. If we write, that puts us not really much of a difference ideologically. Same, honestly, with preach, so we're going to write. Because we're not building a huge number of military units or anything right now, but if we end up having to, again, if we get declared on, it's nice to be able to do so quickly. But it is nice that our vassal is starting to pump out a few military units now, so they won't just get immediately curb stomped in one turn, hopefully. But yeah, I do see that they've moved all their units away, but I don't see where they moved them to. And our vassal is obviously counting as a fog bust for us, but I don't see where they went, which is a concern. There's a 6 stack there. There's a horse in there. There's actual knights rather than just the Hunnic hordes. That's way more dangerous than anything in terms of horses that we've seen so far. With 42 combat strength, that's a lot more than anything else we've seen. Got 200 gold there as well, which is fantastic. That's alright. Okay, we'll go to the next turn. We're up to 5,000 gold now. We're actually making some big money, which we are going to need when it starts getting to upgrade units for wartime. And then we have the battle for the mind. We're not going to read it this time. So we can either study and get learning, which is just more science for 10 turns. We can pray, which gives us more faith for 10 turns. Or we can confine and just get more hammers for 10 turns. We need to get our unique military unit, so I'm going to go for science. And end turn. Still looking around to see if we're going to get attacked by black, but it doesn't look like we're going to, which is awesome. What are we close to in terms of fame points? So the Agrarian Star, we're 6 population away. We are 1 away from Expansionist. Apparently Lime Green hates us and is now aggressive towards us. We don't really care. There's actually more land up here too than I thought as well. Is it any good? It actually doesn't look too bad up there. Maybe we'll end up getting an outpost up here. There must be. I'm just going to take another look, because maybe I'm just being blind. We're getting 580 science a turn. I don't actually know if that's good or not. There must be a way to filter this. See, it's not any of those that I'm looking for is the problem here. I didn't mean to hit enter there. Is Seafaring Mastery just the Great Fish Market and the cog, so that's not it. It's not a research into, it's not going to be a seafood wholesaler. Yeah, it's not going to be all the way back here, surely. I wouldn't have thought anyway. Interesting to get standardized units though. Interesting. But yeah, it's not going to be this far back, surely. Yeah, that's a seafood wholesaler on the propeller tech, and that's clearly not it either. I'm trying to think what it would be called. So if we go back just for a moment, should have gone the other way, should have gone west instead of east. But if we look at those scouts, when we try and put them, can't be done as you don't possess a technology allowing embarkment. So why is it that when I then go into the text screen and search embarkment, nothing shows up? Like, that doesn't make sense. And it's probably a tech that's fairly early on, but I just haven't seen it. But you shouldn't have to see it. It should just be able to tell you if you put even the smallest amount of attempt in. But apparently not. I guess we can just go for trade expeditions. Maybe that's just the arbitrary tech that it needs. Anyway, I'm going to get siege cannons first, and then we'll backfill a load of these techs. And then we'll take a look. If that is the case, that's not very well explained at all. 300 gold on that curiosity, we'll take it. Yeah, this unit over here is making big bucks. And it's doing so much scouting, too. It's not finding very much in terms of land, but it's finding lots and lots of curios and curiosities. Mossos is not actually starving, it's okay. Why do they hate us so much? I don't understand why you hate me.
What do you want now?
You'd think they would like me because they're relying on my resources. Is it because they're jealous? Or is it because we follow different religions? No, they're inclusive. I don't know. He's just mad. He doesn't even know what he's mad at, let alone, you know, how are we going to work it out? So we need 4 more techs, although we can backfill a lot of cheap, crappy techs. So this is actually going to be pretty good for us. We're going to get more districts. I'm not worried about that at all. More population right now is difficult until we can get another outpost, but these two are going to be interconnected. So our Agrarian Star and our Expansionist Star will be directly linked. And we have a ton of influence, which is what, that's intentional. Apparently he'll only trade luxuries with us now. Again, that sounds more like a him problem than an us problem. So much money. We are just scraping the sea out for all of its contents, and I am all for it. At least in this game. That makes it sound like I'm some type of horrible, person that would just destroy the planet for the sake of getting money off the sea. I'm not like that, I promise. So we do have siege cannons finally researched, so we can now build mortars, so if we end up going into sieges, it can be pretty helpful. You don't need line of sight when a mortar attacks. And then yes, we have our unique unit, which can move fully after it attacks, which is great versatility. It's kind of the opposite of the Aquabus. And it's a gunner unit like the Aquabus, so it fights at full combat strength even when defending against close combat attacks despite being a ranged unit. So that's really good. 49 combat strength. I don't think anybody else is going to touch us. And then we do get 15% more money from a Spoils of War, which is a nice bonus, but is definitely not the biggest of deals. So let's follow our tech tree along then to see if we can backfill some of this rubbish. Like, sailing is literally going to take no turns at all, apparently. So we just got that tech. We can go to trade expeditions and then craftsmanship, so we'll just get those knocked out. So we have sailing now. And then, yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. No idea. Can we embark without a ship yet? Nope. We could just get a ship and get around this, but I don't want to. It's maintenance that we almost exclusively will just be wasting. Let's get 37 more hammers out of this. Population-wise and food-wise is doing perfectly fine. That's balanced nicely. And then what do we want to do here? Because we're making a little bit of everything. This is kind of an all-over-the-place city, which is not really how you should build. You should tend to have cities specializing, but this one just didn't end up. So we're going to get some building in here, and then we're going to start producing some of our unique units. The other thing about mortars, actually, that are worth bringing up, considering how strong they are, to only cost 1 population is pretty good. You'll notice that as you get stronger, some of these are starting to use 2 population, like, the Great Swordsman, the Arquebusier, this unit. I don't know if it's pronounced Gadge now, I'm sure it isn't, but it wouldn't be me being an English guy if I didn't butcher the pronunciation. They're also 40 upkeep a turn, which is pain. But we are going to get a couple just to try and keep Akkad safe. And then we'll start slowly moving units away from Akkad to backfill where else they might attack. Okay, so apparently there's starvation again, which there isn't, so please go away. We're going to end turn. Apparently that city's starving too, which is just not true. We've got craftsmanship, which we should have got probably 1,000 game years ago, but it's fine. It gave us a scientist star anyway, so that will certainly help. We're still in the lead, but only just. The poles are still 2 stars ahead of us on the actual path, but nothing to worry about. Is there anything else that we're backfilling that we really feel like we need? I don't think so. I might just get chivalry though, purely because I think the hamlet's a pretty good building. So if I do that, I'm just going to go to chivalry first to make sure it doesn't actually miss the tech on the way through. But yeah, we're doing a little bit. We're doing the great backfill. The great backfill, getting all the techs that we should have had, but we don't. Because apparently, it doesn't really look like they're going to attack us anytime soon. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm okay with, but I am very, very much surprised. And I'm very much not surprised by the fact that Japan decided, hey, these guys that we were friends with maybe 20, 30 turns ago, everything's swell and we're trading perfectly. They just decided, I don't know if they woke up on the wrong side of the bed one day and just went, hey, these guys suck. We don't want anything to do with them at all. But they've thrown all their toys out of the pram, and all it does is hurt them. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What can you do? So we have a poison apples event. So with transoceanic trade bolstering the Empire's coffers, the people are enjoying an influx of exotic fruit and vegetables of many shapes, colours and tastes. Not how you spell colours, but that's a different issue for a different day. However, not all the produce is being well received. One succulent red fruit from the Nightshade family is being blamed for the deaths of some wealthy citizens in Nemossos, and some whisper it's an ingredient used by witches. Among the elite, the calls for its banning on those shores and these shores are loud and shrill. What's your response? So we can outlaw these terrifying apples, which effectively sacrifices science for gold. We can just dismiss this out of hand and say, don't be stupid, the apples are fine. Even though if you look in the picture there, that guy is really, really staring that apple down. He's going, to eat or not to eat. Although that looks more like a tomato, honestly, than an apple, but whatever. Or we can research it, which costs us gold. We get science, but there's a good chance of a positive outcome. So we're going to do that. I mean, I want to know what I'm eating. I don't think they cared so much back then, but, we'll do the right thing. We'll help that guy that was in pondering stance.
Far from home, and maybe redefine what those interests are.
We got that pike. We're just going to keep these in place right now because I don't know where all of those horde units went. I don't see where they've gone. And I'm hoping it's the fact that as we've built our units up, the AI has gone, hey, that would be dangerous. And they're going to either go attack another weak stack, maybe lime green, or they can't afford to maintain them anymore. That would be even better. Because we're taking as much out of the sea as possible. I don't know why our vassal hates us again. I don't know, they're aggressive. They were pretty sure they were hate-filled for a while there, so I guess that's a step in the right direction. Not a massive step, but baby steps, right? But yeah, these curiosities are just earning us so much stuff. We're just ploughing through these old techs. And we're up to 10,000 gold now. Do you remember when at the end of last episode we were starting to go bankrupt? I remember. Oh, we have the tech now, so whichever tech it was, we have it. So let's get this into motion. I don't know if we're going to start dying of, out at sea issue as well, but let's take the method with as much, shallow land as possible and take a look. There's also some land up here that I just noticed. That doesn't look like very good land, though. And again, all this stuff out of sea, no specialty resources, nothing. I don't think that was my intention when I made a Pangaea map, that everything off the mainland is just plain garbage, but we need it for population. So we're definitely going to expand out there. But it's going to take those couple of scouts just to, first of all, see if there's anything that we can pick up that's a curiosity, but also you need to have a unit in order to found an outpost to begin with, so does its job there. Haojing has nothing else to build, so we're going to get one of our unique districts down, because it's given a whopping 37 hammers if we do so it's definitely worth doing. We're making 208 science a turn out of here, so we're definitely going to get some science buildings just to push that number even further. We are legitimately, though, in the need of some food here. So we're going to, before we even start doing all of our, specialty district, I think I'm just going to put a farmer's district down just so we don't get the starving issue. I mean, they're still at 28 population, and obviously that probably means, millions or whatever arbitrary scale it is, right? So it's still not a tiny, tiny city, but if we can pump more out of it, we certainly should, and we certainly can. But I am still concerned, where did all of these units go? They had something like 20 horse units. I don't know where they went. We have centralized power now, so we have access to the taxation office. We can upgrade our pikes to that incredibly excited looking halberdier. Look at his face. He is just over the moon to stab whatever it is. And we have drafters too. And drafters are just the update of the peasants, citizens, and all that just protect your city when it gets attacked on a siege. The 34 combat strength are not actually that bad. Considering we're throwing out units in about 40 range, yeah, not a huge issue at all. So we do have our units out now as a... So it's in a transport galley, but we don't see the transport galley? Okay, so effectively they get destroyed by spending more than one turn in deep water, which makes sense. Do they only have a movement of 2? Well, that's a problem, isn't it? That's not gonna fly. How are they gonna get over there? Do I actually have to build a galley? Let's have a look. So if I go into Nemossos... I really don't want to build one, though, because it's just going to cost money for the sake of money. So the only unit I can see is this Penticonta. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but again, we're just going to pretend that I nailed it. I don't see an actual regular galley unit, unless this just can be a galley for it, but... I'm going to build one just to see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, its upkeep is literally 1 gold, so... Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, Fang Hao, what do we want to do here? So this is also pumping out big science at 222 a turn. I've got no qualms with that whatsoever. However... can we do something? We're going to get the Colossus of Rhodes, I think. That actually might be what we do. So you do have to place it on a coastal water or lake tile, but it gives you a ton of stability and 100 fame. This city is going to get pretty big, so I guess we'll just build it here. Where do we physically want to build this thing? Do we have a tile we can build it in that's not just completely stupid? I'm actually tempted to build it here. It looks kind of cool at the end of the river here as it connects to the ocean. I like that. I'm going to do that. I don't even think it's the most efficient thing to do there, but it looks good, so we're going to do it. You won't hear me say that very often. I'm not a very aesthetically minded individual, but I think it looked pretty cool. You have, you know, a waterfall in the background. You then have all of the rivers coming from that waterfall gently cascading out towards the sea. And then you can have that in your backdrop as you look at the Colossus. I think that looks pretty good. You're imagining that right now. You're a fan, probably. Anyway, I'll give you some more time to think about it. We'll tidy this episode up for now. We'll do more next time around. So if you did enjoy the video, if you just enjoyed thinking about the Colossus with a beautiful background, give it a like or leave a comment, whatever you want to do. You do you. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching the video.